7 Deadliest 80s Muscle Cars You Never Knew Existed. The 1980s weren't meant to create dangerous muscle cars, but they did. Turbos replaced displacement, restraint replaced noise, and manufacturers crossed lines they didn't fully understand. These cars looked harmless and sounded tame until pushed. 1987 Buick GNX. Darkness suited the Buick GNX, and that wasn't an accident. In the late 1980s, muscle cars were supposed to be tame, quiet, and nearly forgotten. Yet, Buick quietly built something that terrified everything around it. No stripes, no scoops, no bravado, just black paint, black wheels, and intent. The GNX didn't advertise danger, it concealed it. At its core sat the LC23 8L turbocharged V6, officially rated at 276 horsepower and 360 lb-ft of torque, though real output was widely believed to be higher. Power went straight to the rear wheels through a drivetrain that prioritized brute force over finesse. With that setup, the GNX could rip from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds, humiliating V8 muscle cars that still relied on displacement rather than boost. What made the GNX deadly wasn't just speed, but timing. Turbo torque arrived suddenly, violently, and without warning. The rear tires struggled to cope, and traction vanished instantly if the driver was careless. Steering was vague, suspension was stiff, and stability systems didn't exist. Once boost hit, the driver was either committed or already too late. Confidence was the real enemy. 6. 1986 Dodge Shelby GLHS. Reputation rarely came from size in the 1980s, and the Taste 10 Dodge Shelby GLHS proved that brutally. It looked like an economy hatchback meant for grocery runs and cheap fuel, not something capable of humiliating larger, louder muscle cars. That visual weakness became its greatest weapon. Drivers saw nothing threatening, nothing special, and nothing worth caution. They were wrong. Hidden beneath the compact shell was the 2L Turbo 2 inline 4 engineered under Carroll, Shelby's direction, producing 175 horsepower and 175 pounds-feet of torque sent exclusively to the front wheels. With its stripped weight and aggressive gearing, the GLHS could charge from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds. An alarming figure for a car that looked disposable. What made the GLHS deadly wasn't raw speed alone, but delivery. Turbo boost arrived, suddenly, overwhelming the front tires and yanking the steering wheel under hard acceleration. Torque steer wasn't a flaw here. It was a warning. Lift too early and balance snapped. Stay in it too long and control evaporated. Every input demanded precision. The danger came from arrogance. Drivers underestimated it because of its shape. Rivals assumed it was slow. Even owners trusted it too quickly. The GLHS punished mistakes instantly with no traction control, no stability aids, and no forgiveness. Public roads offered no margin once boost hit mid-corner or during imperfect launches. Its appearance made everything worse. 5. 1989 Pontiac Turbo Trans Am. Fear didn't arrive with loud stripes or oversized scoops. In 1989, it arrived quietly, wrapped in white paint, subtle badges, and authority. Most drivers didn't understand. The Pontiac Turbo Trans Am looked ceremonial, almost restrained, yet it carried one of the most aggressive powertrains ever slipped into a production muscle car. That contrast made it lethal. Instead of a traditional V8, Pontiac borrowed engineering directly from Buick's darkest experiment. Under the hood lived the LC23 8L, turbocharged V6, producing 250 horsepower and 340 pounds-ft of torque sent to the rear wheels through a drivetrain designed to handle sudden violence rather than gradual buildup. With that setup, the Turbo Trans Am could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds, numbers that embarrassed supercars of its era. What made this car dangerous was surprise. Turbo torque hit hard and early, snapping, traction without warning. Throttle response was brutal, and boost arrived faster than reflexes. The rear tires struggled. Steering demanded respect, and mistakes escalated instantly. There were no electronic safety nets waiting to intervene. Once boost arrived, the driver was alone. The car's image worsened the risk. It didn't look aggressive. It didn't sound threatening at idle. Other drivers underestimated it completely. Police rarely suspected it. Reactions came late. Lanes closed quickly, and space vanished before anyone understood what was happening. Confidence was the enemy. 4. 1985 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS. Aero Coupe. Aerodynamics weren't supposed to make a muscle car dangerous. But the Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe quietly proved otherwise. Built to satisfy NASCAR homologation rules, it looked like a refined personal coupe rather than a threat. The sloped rear glass and smooth body lines suggested efficiency, not intimidation. That subtle appearance allowed it to slip through traffic unnoticed, hiding intentions most drivers never suspected. Under the hood sat the LG45. 0L naturally aspirated V8, producing 180 horsepower and 245 lb-ft of torque. Routed to the rear wheels through a chassis designed more for stability than forgiveness. With that configuration, the Aero Coupe could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.4 seconds. A number that felt far more serious once momentum began stacking up at highway speeds. The danger didn't come from explosive launches. It came from commitment. The long hood, soft suspension, and aerodynamic tail encouraged sustained speed rather than restraint. Once rolling fast, the car felt planted and confident, convincing drivers to push harder than conditions allowed. Braking distances stretched. Weight transfer became pronounced. Recovery demanded foresight rather than instinct. What made the Aero Coupe unsettling was balance without boundaries. Steering felt relaxed, ride quality remained composed, and wind noise stayed low even as speed climbed. Drivers often found themselves traveling far faster than intended, trusting stability that vanished abruptly when pushed beyond limits. There were no electronic systems waiting to save a mistake. Its image made matters worse. Other motorists dismissed it as a cruiser. Authorities rarely looked twice. 3. 1988 Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z1 LE. Authority didn't come from brute force with the Camaro IROC Z1 LE. It came from confidence built on racing logic quietly transferred to the street. At a glance, it looked like another flashy 1980s Camaro. More image than substance. The wide stance and decals suggested attitude, but few realized this version was engineered with a very different purpose. That misunderstanding made it far more dangerous than it appeared. Beneath the hood sat the L98.5. 7L. Naturally aspirated V8, producing 245 horsepower and 345 pounds-ft of torque, delivered to the rear wheels through a setup designed for endurance, rather than comfort. With that configuration, the IROC Z1 LE could accelerate from 0 to 60 mph in 5.6 seconds, a serious figure for a car that still looked like a street cruiser. To most drivers, what separated the 1LE package from ordinary Camaros was intent. Suspension was stiffened, brakes were upgraded, cooling systems were reinforced, and weight was reduced. Comfort features were removed without apology. This was a car meant to run hard for long periods, not one designed to forgive mistakes. Grip was high, but limits arrived suddenly and, without warning. The danger lived in confidence. Steering felt direct, the chassis responded eagerly, and the car encouraged aggressive driving far beyond what public roads could safely support. Push too hard mid-corner, and the rear stepped out violently. 2. 1984 Ford Mustang SVO. Attention was never part of the Ford Mustang SVO's strategy, and that was its most dangerous trait. While other Mustangs relied on loud graphics and V8 bravado, the SVO took a quieter, more calculated approach. It looked restrained, almost academic, designed to appeal to drivers who valued balance over noise. That restraint masked intentions few drivers expected from an 80s Mustang. Power came from the 2.3L turbocharged inline 4, producing 175 horsepower and 210 pounds-feet of torque sent to the rear wheels through a chassis developed with serious engineering intent. With that configuration, the SVO could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds. A figure. That didn't sound dramatic until paired with how the car behaved once moving quickly. What made the SVO dangerous was sophistication without forgiveness. Turbo boost arrived, sharply, demanding precise throttle control. Suspension tuning was firm, steering was quick, and the car responded instantly to driver input. It encouraged aggressive driving, rewarding confidence while punishing mistakes. Push too hard, and the rear end stepped out abruptly. Lift at the wrong moment, and balance shifted without warning. The danger lived in contrast. The SVO felt composed and planted at speed, giving drivers a false sense of security. Brakes were capable, chassis balance was impressive, and the car begged to be driven harder than public roads allowed. When limits were crossed, recovery required skill, not hope. There were no electronic systems waiting to intervene. Its appearance made matters worse. 1989 Chrysler Conquest TSI. Mystery surrounded the Chrysler Conquest TSI long before anyone understood what it was capable of. It didn't look like a traditional American muscle car, and that confusion worked entirely in its favor. With sharp lines, pop-up, headlights, and a distinctly Japanese silhouette, the Conquest blended into the background of late 80s performance cars. Most drivers never realized it carried the potential to become genuinely dangerous when pushed. Beneath its restrained exterior lived the G54 B2. 6L turbocharged inline 4, producing 176 horsepower and 223 pounds-ft of torque sent to the rear wheels through a layout that rewarded commitment rather than caution. With that setup, the Conquest TSI could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.7 seconds, a figure that surprised anyone expecting style over substance. What made the Conquest deadly wasn't raw output, but delivery. Turbo boost arrived suddenly and without apology, overwhelming rear traction if the driver wasn't prepared. Throttle response demanded discipline, and mid-corner acceleration could turn confidence into oversteer instantly. Steering was direct, suspension firm, and mistakes escalated quickly. Without electronic assistance to soften consequences, the danger lived in contrast. At cruising speeds, the Conquest felt composed and comfortable, encouraging drivers to trust it too easily. Once boost built, momentum stacked rapidly, and braking distances disappeared faster than expected. Public roads offered little forgiveness when turbo torque met imperfect pavement. Its appearance amplified the threat. Other drivers misjudged it. Authorities rarely noticed it. Without aggressive sound or obvious muscle cues, reactions came late and gaps closed quickly. The Conquest never announced its pace. It simply exploited hesitation. Chrysler never intended to create a street predator. The Conquest TSI was a collaboration experiment, blending turbocharged technology with grand touring comfort. That balance produced a car capable of far more than its image suggested.